Poppy Harlow. Joining me now is Dr. Arun Gandhi, grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, who sent a prolific message of nonviolence and multicultural understanding to the world. Welcome, Doctor. Thanks for joining us today. Is this more a way to reach out to young people who may not know as much about Gandhi as older people?
Yes, I think so, because the younger people are more into music and to modern music, and so it would be appropriate to reach out to them. And the younger people know very little about Gandhi, and so this will be an occasion to teach them something about him and his philosophy.
My first impression of this event was definitely multicultural, sensual, colors, sound, outside of what is normally what you would call a benefit. It was definitely educational, inspirational, and moving. I did not think that I would become emotional, but I did. I became emotional. I almost cried.
The first time it's ever happened on the planet, 30 days of, celebrating 30 days of peace. And on the International Day of Peace, we've had like 200 countries and 3,500 events happening around the world. It was covered on CNN, World News, the big events at the United Nations, and I think the world came together during these 30 days like no other time in history. I think this evening it's unfolded beautifully. Getting a lot from being here. I know
A good crowd that was here tonight, and I think the message was out there. Dr. Arun Gandhi. I mean, I was moved. I know you were moved, and everybody I talked to just loved what he had to say. But also, in addition to that, I think the music that was here and that was played really portrayed what he was saying, through lyrics and through the instruments.
I think it's great bringing something like this element into a New York vibe, because New Yorkers need this.
Series being held internationally, but the choice of venue for the London event has special significance. Here in the heart of East London, rehearsals are underway for an event with a distinctly international flavour.
Here to London, and wanted purposely to stay at Kingsley Hall at the poor people in London.
I'm about ready to introduce Tushar Gandhi. He's calling in from India. So here's an opportunity to hear directly from a family member about Mahatma Gandhi.
Say it again, please.
Yeah, in 1930, at the end of the Salt March, Mahatma Gandhi, my great-grandfather, sent out a message to the world, and he said, I want world sympathy in this battle of right. The battle for nonviolence and peace is a battle of right against might, and it can only succeed if everyone who believes in peace and nonviolence all over the world comes together and stands in solidarity against the forces of war and tyranny. And that is the message that we must continuously bring back to the world. And attempts like the Gandhi Tour are what the world requires to remind them that peace and nonviolence are something that are not needed by the human beings themselves, but by the entire world, because otherwise, as Gandhi said, an eye for an eye will only end up making the whole world blind. Thank you very much for being there and spreading this voice of nonviolence and peace, and strengthening the cause for which Gandhi and Martin Luther King gave up their lives, and for which Nelson Mandela lives today as the shining icon. Thank you, and may peace be with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You are a part of history. Gandhi has spoken again in Kingsley Hall. We have a word here from Lord Attenborough.
The Gandhi Foundation was established after Richard Attenborough's film in 1982. So we were set up in 1983, and Richard is life president. So in context, I think Richard Attenborough should be seen as the man who reignited the idea of nonviolence and obviously brought Gandhi's life to millions and millions of people around the world. He's now 85, and he's still making films. I called him the other day and he wrote this. He sent this message for me to read out. I am devastated that production involvement prevents me from joining you today. Nothing can be more important than the advocacy of the principle of nonviolence, and I would wish all concerned every possible success in achieving our magnificent objectives. Richard.
The first thing you must do is to motivate your friends.
I think that when people get together and they think about how to make a better world, then they can change what people expect from the future. And so that's a way of building a future.
Well, I think your own indifference is the biggest problem we face. If you want to rebel against something, rebel against your own indifference, and because it's the way it's the thing that has the world the way it is. You know, we got to get out from under our beds, get out of bed, get out on the street, and march in step together.
We fell in love with a word, the most beautiful word of all, the only one that describes something that is not there: peace. World March for Peace and Nonviolence. The journey will span across nearly 100 countries, 6 continents. You too will fall in love with the most beautiful words in the world. Start walking with us.